In audio. 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 In audio.
Yes, people, what's going on? Welcome back to Saeed TV. We are live for the Sunday Unfiltered podcast, the last show of the week, but by no means the least show of the week. But we're here, minus hopefully Flawless will be here in about 5 minutes' time. He's just coming to the yard. We'll let him settle down and whatnot. But we've got man like Double A in the building. Double A, how's things going, man? How's things going?
Good, man. It's been a good week, and it's been a decent week as a United fan. I think
Yeah.
little skepticism and a lot to look forward to in terms of players and just news. It's been a busy week, and it like I was saying off screen before we went live. Busy week for content creators, but listen, the season edges ever closer. It's exciting, really. But yeah, man, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me on, as always. Big up the chat. Make sure everyone, you are smashing the like. We call Flawless the hard-working guy on YouTube, but Saeed chasing him, mate, running in close. It's neck and neck.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Neck
We're
and neck.
getting there, man. I'm telling you. We're chasing down Flawless, man. You know what I'm saying to you? But yeah, man, big up to everybody who's here. Please smash the like button on the video. We got a lot to discuss, man. I thought it'd be a bit of a quiet day today, Tazzy United, but we got the situation about Harry Maguire. He's looking to fight for his position. We've got the stuff on David De Gea, obviously. The fallout from David De Gea. Fred possibly leaving the football club. He's got a new agent. And also the Axel Disasi links from Monaco. But I've not heard your opinion on David De Gea. He's left. How are you feeling now that he's gone? And we're kind of closing in on an end. How's your kind of overall feeling right now?
It's weird, because it's like a 50-50. It's twinged with a bit of sadness and a bit of regret on how it's all been handled. And I think, we as fans are always, we don't appreciate what we've had a lot of the time. It's always about wanting what other teams have got. And we're very much like that as Manchester United fans in terms of the ownership. And, we saw what Manchester City have done, and that's what we used to do. We can't help but look at other teams at the moment and kind of want to be back on their level. And I think, regardless of what you think in terms of David De Gea and him being maybe an old-fashioned goalkeeper, or the game's gone past him in certain elements, especially the way we want to play under Erik ten Hag. You kind of forget what a legend he actually was for this football club. And some people saying he's not a legend. Let me tell you now, David De Gea is a legend of this football club. For him to come in at 18, 19 years old, straight away, he had critics on his back. He was too skinny. He wasn't good enough. He was a waste of money. And then he turned it round and absolutely became, at one point, the best goalkeeper in the world. And, he played his best years during, arguably one of our worst ever periods as a football club, on and off the pitch. I'm not, we've been relegated and stuff like that, but on and off the pitch for the last 10 years, Manchester United has been an absolute circus, which David did tweet. But I think
exactly.
overall, you gotta look back, and you've got to, appreciate everything he's done for Manchester United. I just wish the club would have looked back and realised, if they wanted him to go, that they handled it. They handled it a better way. Like, just talk to him, plan forward. January, say, listen, David, we're probably going to go another way. So we won't offer you. Let it be known. Let him go and find a move from January, and let us have 6 months of celebrating him. That last game at Old Trafford. Bruno said it, and that's why he should be the captain. I'm sure we'll touch on that in a little bit.
Yeah, that's another one we'll touch on as well.
He's not happy about not being able to say bye in front of the fans at Old Trafford. And that last game before the FA Cup final would have been a celebration of David De Gea. We won, and we could have said bye to him properly, got the proper send-off he deserved from the fans, and it would have been beautiful. It would have been nice to have done that. Yes, you don't always get that, but it's a recurring theme with this football club, or the people and the powers that be. I think, Rio, Evra, and now David De Gea, people who have done a lot for this club and won a lot for this club, not getting the goodbyes that they deserve. And, you say whatever you want about David De Gea, but he won everything bar the Champions League at this football club. And I think, you put him in the teams that Van der Sar and Schmeichel played in, we still win everything that we won, because he was that good and that good of a goalkeeper. And the best thing we can, obviously, what we have to do now is, that's the past. He's moved on, said goodbye, and then we look at getting Onana in. And I think, I think it's exciting. It looks like it's going to be the keeper that comes in. The only thing I would say is, let's not put too much pressure on him straight away. And I'll say the same. Obviously, I said on the Man Them Talk about Mount and the pressure that was added to him with the number 7. I think the keepers always seem to need to bed in a little bit longer than outfield players. So there's a worry there that he comes in and he has a stinker, or he drops something, or he makes a mistake. I think the fans. The
fans you know what it is though? The Old Trafford fans need to be ready, because we've got an oldish fan base in the stadium, and they're gonna have to be ready for Onana, man. And I hope they give him time. They don't just kind of come out and say, "Oh, we want David De Gea back, and he's not good enough and he's useless." You have to be patient with this new keeper. That's one thing that I think United fans have to give David De Gea. Sorry, not David De Gea. Sorry, Onana time. Let him time to build himself, get too used to know the back line. But the way, I don't know if you've seen the actual what he's doing from the back here, but are you worried certain midfielders might not be able to kind of cut it out there? Maybe a Casemiro might get exposed a little bit in terms of receiving the ball on the half turn, because the way I've been watching, obviously I've watched him a lot, but just in general, the way he fizzes that ball into midfield, that's why I'm like, we need another midfielder to kind of like on the half turn receive that ball and kind of move. Obviously, Mount, we've been hearing on the half turn, he's very, very good, and then he can do that. So, are you surprised Ten Hag's not bringing another midfielder in there, or do we get that from maybe the centre backs and whatnot?
Yeah, I think we're lucky we've got two world class centre halves in Martinez and Varane, but Casemiro's played with Alisson for a long time. You say Alisson's probably the best goalkeeper in the world, who's decent with his feet. So he's used to playing at a national team, and I don't fear Casemiro. Casemiro's a technically great player, and I think he'll bed in absolutely fine. Yes, I agree with you. We absolutely do need another midfielder. Amrabat looks like the likely one, and it depends if we get Fulham. Looks like Fred might be getting Fred, and there's still a couple more that need to go. I think you saw the reports today that even Van der Beek is looking at options and seeing if there's anything out there for him. So 1 or 2 might go, and then it's probably going to be one more, isn't it? And if it is Amrabat for sort of 30, 40 million. I think they're suggesting. So it's a great, even less. I think it was less. Was it like 25, 30, which even better. That's even better. That, you know, that's quite an astute signing. If we get him, and like I said, he can play alongside and also cover for Casemiro. So that would be great because he covers two positions in one. And yeah, I think he would be a good signing. It's not, but let's not kid ourselves. It's a good signing, but it's not the signing we think we should be getting. You know, we should be challenging Arsenal for rights. We should be going for Caicedo. We should be looking at McAllister. We should be looking at all the, you know, Lavia as well. We should be looking at these types of signings, not trying to find shrewd signings for cheap prices. And as always, that we speak about Said, it all circles back to the ownership, doesn't it? And how we've been mismanaged and misused from these owners every single time. So I think it's exciting, and it's, you know, it's going to be weird seeing our style of play totally changed than it has for the last 12 years. But, you know, everything, you know, Ten Hag said it himself. Era's come to an end, and Saturday, one came to an end, didn't it?
I hope so, man. Because again, like I said, he said them comments and City won the treble, mate. You know what I mean? So he's got to be careful with his words this season. Let's do the talking on the pitch, and let's you know what I mean. Let's keep the words. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I liked it at the start, but then obviously now City won the treble. You know what I mean? So it didn't really kind of work for anything. Let's be honest with you, man. But hopefully,
you don't have to mention that, though. You don't have to mention that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's not mention that. Let's not mention that. But for me, like I said, man, we got a lot to discuss, man. Let's get into it straight away, and that is Harry Maguire, man. Listen, he's been with Carvalho there, but he was a good player back in the day, man. He was the one that for me didn't get the credit that I think he should have got. Carvalho, he was a top defender, man. Him and John Terry were a beast, man.
And
so
that's
what he's learning from the best.
John Terry was the England golden boy. He kind of went under the radar. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people say this similar, unless you're not a United fan. I think people think it about Rio and Vidic. I think Rio gets a lot more of a shine than Vidic does, and we all know how amazing Vidic was. And I think Carvalho's a little bit the same. But no, he was brilliant. He's one of them players as well. I think he was one of them defenders that you hated playing against, but if you played for your team, you absolutely love him. You know, he was one of them. He just gets stuck in, a little bit of the dark arts. He was an absolutely brilliant player. Yeah, I loved him.
No, 100%, man, 100%. But it's coming out from the Fabrizio podcast. Here we go. Harry Maguire's been training 3 times a day for 3 weeks. He's been spending time training 1-to-1 with Ricardo Carvalho. Harry Maguire wants to fight for his place. Big up Flawless in the building. He wants to fight for his place and not give up. That's the key message there. Listen, man, I've seen a lot of comments, by the way, saying that you shouldn't train, and there's a lot of mad comments. Like, if you're not going to believe in yourself, then, you know what I mean? That's a situation for the manager to understand. So, them comments were like, why are you training? You're not going to be here and all that. I don't really get them comments, but from a United point of view, boy, man, I think, you know what I mean, the writing's on the wall here, man. Let's be honest, man.
Well, at the end of the day, the decision needs to be taken out of his hands. It doesn't matter if he goes and trains for 50 years with and then taking turns with Nesta and Maldini and Vidic and Stam and all these. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the manager needs to turn around to him and say, "You're 5th choice centre back at this club, mate. There's a left back that comes in and does better than you. What I'm telling you is, you won't get any game time. I think it's best for you to move on and find pastures new." And this is what we need. We need this. Why has it taken now in mid-July or early July for us to have sit-down talks with him? May, you tell him, listen, when we come back or in the summer, I suggest you go and find yourself a new club because I've got plans. I want Kim Min-jae and I want to have these centre-backs. And even Luke Shaw will cover when they're not available. You are not what I need going forward. And whether them conversations have taken place or will take place, it's yet to be seen. But we missed out on Kim Min-jae because Harry Maguire is still at the club. And I think, you know, it's one of those where the club are very scared to say any player is up for sale. It's just we will accept decent offers for him, which is it's almost like, you know, it's just not putting your neck out there to say you're no longer wanted. And we all know why they won't say Maguire's up for sale, because he's listed as an asset against the debt, as always. So, but Ten Hag's getting a lot of praise now for being ruthless with the Maguire thing, the De Gea thing, where I don't think it was ruthless, it was reckless, if anything. The way they've handled it, it should have been done a lot better and a lot more professional. I think this is reckless as well. I think you're feeding Maguire enough to he's got an ego. So if you're not telling him that you need him to go, he's going to think, well, I've got a chance and answer. I'll go and work with Carvalho, or go and in the off season look like I'm doing bits and I'll win my place back. The first protocol is, as we've seen today, the captaincy will get taken off him, but the manager has to say to him, "You are fifth choice in this team, mate. So go and find something better for yourself, and we'll facilitate you the best way we can. But you are not in my plans," and that's what needs to be said. It should have been said in May, but the sooner it's done, the sooner we can get rid and move on. And again, you'll see another weight lifted off the team. I think once they don't have to play so far back when he's on the pitch.
Flawless, what are you saying, man? Obviously, it's one of them where, you know what I mean? Do you think, obviously, with David Hayer's gone, Maguire's now, I think, the next one that everyone's waiting for him to move on. But centre-back situation, if we don't sign another centre-back, will Ten Hag be lenient on him in a sense? Or do you think he wants to get rid of him as much as... If he sees him as a backup kind of, in the background, it's one of them where you might not want to get rid of him as soon as you can. But obviously with David Hay, it was a situation where he wanted to be number one. So he kind of didn't want to be number two, etc., etc. But how do we move on Maguire? Obviously, we have the bid has to come in, interest have to come in, but it's difficult, man. Unless bid comes in, what can you do?
That's it. What you said there at the end.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad, isn't it? When you think about it, it's crazy.
People complain. People complain all the time about Manchester United being unable to move on players. And do I think we could do a better job of helping move players out the door? Yes. But to move a player out, other teams have to want that player. So either another team has to offer said player a contract or make an official bid to the club, or both. So that's when people say, oh, United are so slow moving players out. What bid have we rejected for anybody this summer? What contract has been offered from another club to one of our players? To our knowledge, none. So you can't, like I said, United could do a little bit of a better job about pushing players out the door. But once you start doing that, that lowers the potential value of what you could potentially get for that player. With Maguire, as much as I want to see him leave, he's fifth choice centre-back. So even if he stays, we're barely going to see him. So I have really, as much as I'd prefer to move him on, yes. And even if we have to pay him 10 million, I think that's 10 million well spent. I'm just glad that he's not in the first team fixture. He don't play. It's Martinez and Varane. We know that 110%. They're the two who play. And Double A mentioned it. Luke Shaw plays ahead of him. Lindelof plays ahead of him. There's times both Martinez and Varane have been unavailable, and Luke Shaw and Lindelof have been the preferred options. So he's fifth. He's literally in the third team. You know what I'm saying? Three centre-backs have to get injured for you to play. And now we've been linked today with again with the Axel Disasi from Monaco.
Axel Disasi, yeah, I'll pull it up right now as well. You're right.
Which then further shows that Ten Hag is wanting to move him on. So has Maguire
not really a fan of him, to be honest with you.
I've not watched him like that, so I know nothing about him whatsoever. But one thing I do know about him, he's better than Maguire. I know that much.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point. Getting to the point with Maguire, that I'm going to pose as a driver to pick him up from Carrington, drop him off in the middle of nowhere, just with a sign that says "free to a good home." That's the point it's getting to with him. I just want him gone. I can't stand the guy.
Yeah. Got some breaking news here about Dusan Vlahovic from Fabrizio Romano has just put out here. Understand Dusan Vlahovic could leave Juventus, but only for an important bid. He's one of 4 strikers being considered by PSG. Chelsea are currently not negotiating for Vlahovic, despite reports. Chelsea and Bayern appreciate Dusan, but haven't opened talks as things stand. Had we had the money and we could afford him, would anyone be on Dusan Vlahovic? I think it's one of them for me. Like, yes, his stocks are down, but he's still a good striker. His stocks are down because he had a first good year for Fiorentina. He then had a decent year at the first year of Juventus. From January onwards. But I think for me, he's one of them where I don't know, man. For me, it's Kane anyway. First, but Vlahovic outside chance. You know what I mean? It's one of them. I don't think we could afford him anyway, to be honest with you.
No.
Double A.
Well,
Anyway.
yeah. What are you looking at? 60, 70 mil potentially.
Yep.
Listen, he improves our forward line tremendously, regardless of what you think of him. Even if you're saying he's not had a great season at Juventus or whatever. I think
Yeah.
at the moment, Juventus is a terrible place to be. They've been kicked out of Europe today, apparently as well. I saw somewhere. So it's not a great place to be, and it seems like people are running for the hills over there. So I like him. I think he's a good striker. I think he'd suit Ten Hag very well, and I think I think he'd be a great sign. Him and Haaland will be brilliant for us as options, to rotate or to even. It's young as well, so it's not a Kane. People are on at Kane. I've been won round by Kane. I was dead against it, and I think if we were to get Haaland and Kane, I think that would be a great double act for us to have and strike force. But listen, I take a gingerbread man over Martial, so I'll take anyone at the moment. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, give me anything.
Listen, that's crazy.
Begging. When you look back, we had Weghorst and Martial last season. I'm on my knees. I need some.
That's why everybody's so uproar against Højlund. Nobody really knows who Højlund really is about unless they've watched him, religiously. Like everyone's up in arms about Højlund because we've basically had shit for the past couple of years.
Yeah, because the thing is with when it's players outside of the Premier League, I always say profile. And Højlund, I like his profile. So why would we not? You know what I'm saying? Why would we not go for him? Like he's pacing power, he's 6'3", technically decent. You know what I'm saying? Can score goals. He fits the bill. Like it's not like people act like we're a striker away from winning the Premier League. Like I would understand the heavy discussion and the heavy critique and like people looking inside and out in regards to Højlund. We're not there. I'm saying we're a top 4 side. We're a domestic cup side. That's where we're at currently. Obviously, the aim is to get better, but that's where we're at. Like we need to build. Like Ten Hag, just because Ten Hag's done a great job in his first season. Don't forget where we was, but also don't forget how far we've got to come along. I think some people are getting it mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Big up my guy Kevin. He says here, big up Said. I met you in New York at the bar and you've come a long way. Keep it up, man. Loving these shows and the US show too. Yeah, man. Big up to you, man. I appreciate it, man. I remember you as well, man. So big up to you.
You have come a long way. It's 5 hours away. Yeah, very long.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Definitely.
It's kind of jokes.
Nah, I hear you, man. I hear you. But now, big up to Kevin, man. And big up to everybody who's in there as well, man. Yeah, man. Big up to everyone. Make sure you like the video, people. There's nearly 900 in here, and we haven't hit at least 300 likes. So please hit the like button, bottom right hand corner. Doesn't cost you a penny. And yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, 32 games, 9 goals. Yeah, I think it's more the hype and more what we're gonna miss out on rather than the actual player itself. I think for me, that's what it is really. But going back to the Maguire situation, it's one of them again. Like I said to you, we need a bid, but who West Ham should come for him at least in it. But if the player's not willing to leave and he's kind of staying, then it is a situation where we're gonna have to just keep him. And is it the best thing in the world? No, but Flawless has said it before there. Like, we're not gonna really see him if we've got the rest of them in there.
Don't play, like I said, there's plenty to critique with Manchester United. There's a lot to critique with our football club and decisions we've made and what's going on. Harry Maguire not leaving is not one of those issues whatsoever. Well, it's not one of those issues. It's not a major issue because you know what would be a bigger issue if he was here and he was playing week in, week out. That's a major issue. Or if he was back up to, let's say, Varane, for instance. Varane gets
exactly. That's where it is, though.
And he's
if the manager gets him as backup, and then all of a sudden, you know how the manager goes from liking Maguire, then he goes to Lindelof, and then because he did do that at the start. He had to Maguire starting a little bit. Then obviously, when he realized Lindelof's actually a better player,
he gave everybody a blank slate, and he gave Maguire enough rope to hang himself with, and Maguire did it instantly. That's what he did. McTominay took a little bit longer. Like McTominay had that good form at the start of the season. And then once he dropped a couple poor performances, Casemiro was in. And very much like Maguire, how often did we see McTominay? How often did Maguire start last season 2-3 games in a row? Like aside from the start. So the managers phased him out, which is what we wanted. People are talking, why can't we sell Maguire? We all think Maguire is one of the worst centre-backs in the league. That's not an easy sell. It's not an easy sell.
Damn right. You're damn right, yeah. talking about the captaincy, there was a big debate today online. Who should be the Manchester United captain? Obviously, it was obviously Maguire, and then obviously De Gea, and then you know what I mean. And then Bruno got it as well. But who will be the official captain? I've said for me, Lisandro Martinez, because I feel like for me, when he's on the pitch, I think he gives a sense of leadership on there. He's always following. Like I feel like he leads by example. He rarely has a bad game, and people are going to say, "Oh, 7-0s and whatnot." I get that, but I'm not gonna lie to you. When I watch him, especially at the games and whatnot, I see him always telling people what to do, and I just feel like, especially when we play out from the back, he's always leading the press or whatever it is like we're trying to do. That's just my own opinion. Where are you, Double A? Who should be captain for you and this team? We've got so many: Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes. Who else is there? Varane for me is a silent captain. But who do you reckon should be captain? And let me know in the comments as well, people.
Well, first of all, I have to say, I think it's not like the 90s and maybe early 2000s where the captaincy meant a lot more. I think we've seen with the captain of the club not actually playing and being sidelined, people stepping up, and I think this team is quite lucky that we have a lot of experienced and you would say leaders. You mentioned Varane, you've mentioned Martinez, you've mentioned Casemiro as well, and people coming up as well, been at the club for a long time. Rashford, I'm not saying I think he should be the captain, but you would expect him to be a leader within the dressing room and on the pitch. Same way with Luke Shaw as well. They hold a bit of responsibility in being, seasoned professionals at the club. Foles ain't going to like it, but I'm going to say Bruno Fernandes 100%. I think he's had it last season. I think he proved to lead this team really well. He led us to our first trophy in 6 years. I like him or love him, I think his traits off and on the pitch show that of a captain. And I'm proud that he plays for our club in the way that he responded to the David De Gea situation yesterday. Shows he's not happy with the treatment of a professional and a friend and a teammate. And I just think that's what a captain would do. Maguire's never going to come out and say that, is he? He's never going to put that tweet out. It's all going to be, best of luck, my friend. See you soon. Very, very annoying. And Craig, you're saying he's a walking red card. How many times has it been sent off? You're talking nonsense, mate. You might get a yellow card.
I think he might be talking about Casemiro. Might be talking about Casemiro there, surely.
Bruno, you don't get red cards. You're talking nonsense.
This one here.
Yeah, you don't get
wins you at the referee.
Yeah, he wins it.
Yeah. But that is a good
you know
point.
what that is? That's standard. So that's okay. Expecting more from him. And he moans it. You've seen him moaning because he's not happy with the output of the team, and he's all captains used to do that. Who was the worst for it? Peter Schmeichel was terrible at berating the defense. Not even wearing the armband. Roy Keane used to do it all
as well.
The difference is though, it's easier to do that and accept that when you're playing to a high level. People will accept that more. Like more often than not, Keane was playing at a high level and Schmeichel was playing at a high level. Because I don't mind like Bruno whinging at the ref. It's at the teammates. That's what it is. Especially when not a lot of the time, but some of the time it's his fault. But go on, carry on.
No, yeah. Rooney used to do it a lot as well. I don't know, he used to get stick for that.
Rooney.
I think it's been shown that, like him or love him, I think, when he came in, everyone couldn't get enough of him. And then all of a sudden, now he's become a bit of a fall guy for the team. But I think he's fantastic, and I think he exemplifies what the manager wants on the pitch. And I think there's a reason why he's constantly kept the armband, apart from when Maguire has his 5 or 10 minutes at the end and he wants to take it off him. But I'm not talking in terms of his output on the pitch. I understand there's areas for him to improve, and I agree with Flawless on that. That's absolutely right. But I think he shows more leadership on the pitch than most on there. I think Martinez is a potential captain. I don't think he's been here long enough for him to get it. And Casemiro, he's come out today and said he'd like to be the captain. Whether he's in for a shout. Yeah, there's an interview. He's come out. I've seen some quotes.
I missed so much. Casemiro said that. What did De Gea say about? What did Bruno say about that? I know I was going to get to it anyway, but what did Bruno say about De Gea leaving? I missed this as well.
Yeah, when he came in, when he came out and said obviously that he was leaving, and the whole announcement was there. He's done a post on his Instagram and said, "You deserve to say goodbye in front of all the fans." And he's rightly saying it's been handled. Well, you can read between the lines. It's been handled poorly, but yeah, I think. Listen, like I say, sometimes it's like an empty gesture in it, the captain's armband, and you're expecting the 11 players on the pitch to be leaders and to help each other. But I think Bruno for me would be the one. He's already had it, and like I say, he's led us to some success last season. So I'd be happy for him to keep it for sure. But then, like I say, there's a couple more that would act as leaders anyway.
Big up Zayn Miaz says, with Rice, we now have the best old school captain in the league. I feel Mbappe for next year. He wants to join us. He will be free so we can get him. Wow.
My
Wow.
old school,
Crazy,
my old
man.
school
Zayn
captain
Miaz
means he's got a Union Jack and Brexit above it. Is that what you mean?
Well, I don't know, man. But
Is that
Zayn
what you mean?
definitely on the shisha pipe tonight.
Let's address the actual part of this. Man said he what's it called? I feel Mbappe for next year. Let's not gloss over that and act like man just didn't super chat to say that. I feel
he
Mbappe
did
for
super
next
chat
year.
that.
You know, actually spelled his name wrong, even he don't believe it. But big up to you, Zayn, man. You know what I'm saying? Large up to you, Zayn.
Yeah.
Mpabe. Is he the ISS Pro version? Is that what he is? Yeah.
Exactly.
Mpabe.
It's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I don't know what he's smoking there, man. But listen, give people that shisha pipe, man. Let people have that shisha pipe. But you know what? I think for me, with Bruno Fernandes, I think for me it comes down to, I think in big games, I look at him sometimes he goes missing, especially away from home. And I think ultimately,
Well, who steps up though? Who steps up? You say he goes missing, but who steps up?
But that's what I'm saying. I think not many people have stepped up. I think Casemiro's maybe stepped up in certain other games like Chelsea away and stuff like that. But I think ultimately Lisandro Martinez has been one of the, especially in the finals as well. When you look at the Carabao Cup final, when you're looking at certain games, you know, he's been a catapult. Like he's just been that guy, and that's why I want him as a captain. You know what I mean? Even when like Mason Mount was coming, you know, I don't know if you've seen a video about Mason Mount when he was coming into training and when he see his family. And I just think he leads by example. But I hear you, Bruno Fernandes has been there since the start and he deserves it. And sometimes he shows that leadership qualities. But Flawless, who are you choosing? Who are you picking?
I do agree with Double A in the sense of I don't believe the captaincy is as important as it used to be. And
Yeah.
I'm not really too fussed as much as I'm like not a fan of Bruno Fernandes as a player. If he does get the captaincy, so be it. Is he one of the better candidates? Yes, alongside, I believe, a Casemiro, alongside a Lisandro Martinez as well. But if, let's say Martinez or Casemiro don't get the armband, if you're a captain and you're captain like, you're gonna display like leadership qualities anyway. Yeah, you're gonna display leadership qualities. So it doesn't really make too much difference. I'm saying shakes hands with the opposition captain and talks to the ref. Who talks to the ref when it kicks off? Like Martinez is not gonna get the armband and do any more than what he already does. Because that's just what he's like. He's a leader. Same with Casemiro. Same with Varane as well. Personally, I would probably give it to Lisandro Martinez. I would give him the captaincy. He would be my preferred option, but I'm not going to kick and scream and be like, oh, it's if he doesn't get it. Or if Casemiro, it'd be between him and Casemiro for me, Varane as well. I'm saying they're the three I would have. But if Bruno gets it, like, all right, give the captain, give the armband to Bruno.
I would like to see you kick and scream, mate, if he does. I would like to see that.
Yeah, no.
Man. Not like, man. There's so much, again, back to what we were saying about with the Manchester United and critiquing us selling players. Bruno getting the armband is nowhere near, like, just improve your game. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, if he was the official captain, that helps him raise his game. It gives him that sense of more responsibility, maybe, and he improves his game. But yeah, like I say, Martinez for me should get it though.
Yeah. Listen, let us know what you think in the comments below, man. Other players that might be leaving, obviously there'll be probably an exodus of players leaving, is one of them could be Fred. Fred potentially could be leaving the football club. Fulham will bid again after again for Fred having made a first approach, and Saudi Arabia clubs are also exploring this possible option. This is after he apparently has changed his agent as well. So that's always a sign that possibly they will be looking to leave. Look here, I'm going to bring up the report here. But is anyone here against selling Fred or against like him leaving? Anyone? Any of you guys? Because I'm like,
are you against it, Double A? For real?
I'm against it because I would rather these people that should go before him, and I'm talking about the worst player I've ever seen play for Manchester United.
I know that one.
The worst player I've ever seen. Where don't talk to me about Kleberson. Don't talk to me about Bellion. Don't talk to me about Jemba. Scott McTominay is the worst player that's ever played for this football club, and yet he is going to stay because he's British and that he apparently is the youngest midfielder that we have, which is the worst reasons I've ever heard for keeping someone. I'd rather get rid of McTominay. Like Fred, yes, Fred is up and down. Yes, Fred can frustrate. Yes, Fred can come on and make games go wrong. And yes, I agree. They probably should both go. But if we're gonna get rid of one before the other, it has to be McTominay because he's rubbish in it. He doesn't offer anything. Fred was getting goals. Fred turned up against Tottenham. And I think he's more of a player there. I think he offers more to the team. I just don't rate McTominay at all. I'm just not a fan. I just don't think, for 26 years old, people are still talking about potential. It's like a Lingard situation all over again, and he ain't gonna get any better. The guy can't even play midfield for his national team. So, I think just get rid of him. But Fred's probably got more value. Then it looks like Fred has more value in the market than McTominay, which is appalling in itself, I guess. But yeah, I'd be sad to see him go, and I think he's done okay for us in games, and 20 million is not bad with 1 year to go either, I guess, if that's the price we get for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to reiterate here, it says, understand Fred has now picked new agents, same group as Gabriel Jesus. He could leave as Fulham will bid, but also Saudi contract until 2024 at Man United, but understands that playing a more important role is now key for his future. Before I get your comments,
go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, Zayn Mias says, we'll cook United and Emirates. How you going to get past Timber, Saliba, Jesus, Saka, Martinelli, Trossard, all of you? All you have is Rashford and maybe Garnacho. Take out Haaland. Is decided to say Hoyland, we will have the best attack. Wow, crazy.
I think he's saying Haaland. So basically,
Haaland. Yeah, Haaland. Then, yeah.
He says take out Haaland. We have the best
so hopefully you're going to win the league, then, isn't it? Hopefully you're going to win the league. That means, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm just choking like Arsenal.
God is bad jokes.
Yeah. It's wild.
Zayn, so you said take out Haaland, we have the best attack. So you just here admitting that you have the second best attack. You man just the new Liverpool, man. You know what I'm saying? You just Liverpool in London.
Yeah.
So you are bragging about being second. You know what I'm saying? Silver medalist, man. Second place. That's you, man. That's what you man are, man. You might want to take that Luigi spot from Liverpool. Do your thing, man.
Telling you, man. But yeah, what was going to say about Fred? I think for me though, I think it's just a step that United just need to get, like this mindset that not that person. I think if you just have the mindset right, we're getting rid of all the guys who have basically been a failure for the past how many years and just not it anymore. Let's just move them on step by step, and then we can just feel like we don't really need to think about anyone anymore, innit? You know what I'm saying, Flawless?
It's time. Like I do agree with Double A. Like there is other players we need to get rid of.
Yes, absolutely.
I would bin 95% of this team. So that tells you where I'm at with this. I'm tired of these players. We've watched these players for year in, year out, depending on how long they've been here, not be good enough. And I like Fred. You know what I'm saying? Does he have his uses? Yes. Has he played well in certain games? Also, yes. We know what he's good at. We know what he's not good at. But if we're trying to go to the level we're trying to go to, Fred is not it. You know what I'm saying? Fred is not it as a squad player. Like we got too many. The reason why we struggle is because we're a squad full of squad players. He shouldn't be a first teamer, and he shouldn't be the backup to the first team either. He shouldn't be. So if we can get 20 million for him, whether that's Fulham, whether that's a team in Saudi Arabia or another team that hasn't come forward yet, move him on. Him, McTominay, for example, who Double A mentioned, both gotta go. Not good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like the vast majority, how long do we need to have these players here before we go, yeah, you're just not good enough for where we're trying to go? We all know Fred's not good enough. We all know it.
£50 million as well, you know. That's mad.
Yeah, that's just us. We just got to cut our losses and say, you know what, not good. Like we got it wrong, and you're gonna get signings wrong. Because like I said, minus Ten Hag signing, throw Garnacho in the mix because he's new, and Rashford. All these players can go. I will not defend or sit here and defend or champion any of these players to stay. Because we've watched them fail, might not be good enough.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Guys, keep liking the video, people. There's nearly 1,000 people in the chat. Let's get the likes up to at least 500 by the end of the video, people. We need to go and get that. But anyone else, because I feel like for me, it's not only just Fred. Donny van der Beek apparently is looking for exploring his options as well. You know, again, we'll see who brings him in and who kind of who he comes to the football club. But Double A, Donny van der Beek, is it a pre-season situation or again has he got to, you know, what I mean, find a move now? What's going on with him?
Yeah, man. I think the last 2 years, not last season. Last season, you know, it's not too bad, but I think 21, 22 kind of made me. I'm void of all attachment to players now. I don't care. I just, if you don't do well, I want you gone. I'm not sitting here longing for you to be given chance after chance and all this. He needs to go. You know, I've said on his channel a long time. He wasn't given games. He wasn't given a run in the team. I think he played 5 in a row. Did nothing. So it looks like even if Ten Hag can't get the best out of you, the guy who's giving you, you know, your best period of your career at Ajax, if he can't get a tune, you're not made for this team and this league, you know. So sadly, he's another one I'd like to go. Probably fits it, you know. He's one of the 95% that Flawless is talking about. But what I don't want is, again, and what this club likes to do, loan with an option. Get rid. Let's get that wage off the bill, and we can try and get someone in with the money. You know, if Roma's an option, go and ship him off to Roma or whatever. But yeah, just get rid. Sad it's not worked. I was really excited to see him come. As a player that I'd liked, but even then, he wasn't the player that Ollie wanted. It was Grealish, and he didn't even get the player he wanted. So we ended up getting Van der Beek, and he never got used. So he was off to a loser from the start, and it's just never picked up for him, sadly. So as much as I did like him, and I thought he was a good player, and he could have added something to this team, it's not worked. So, and he's not going to get ahead of Bruno. He's not going to get ahead of Mount. He's not going to get ahead of Casemiro. Probably won't get ahead of McTominay. So it's like a Maguire situation. What are you here for? The prestige of being a United player, the wage. Go and play football. You know, you spent 2 or 3 years doing nothing. Yeah, go and play some football, lad, and start living your life.
Absolutely, man. That's a key thing for these guys, man. I think some of them just want to play some good football and have opportunities. But, you know, with the way when Ten Hag's going to play, Mount, Bruno, Casemiro, I think for me, it's going to be... And you know what it is, though, Flawless? Ten Hag don't really rotate, man. Let's be honest. Like, even in competitions, man, he don't rotate people, man. And we're not going to have the amount of games that we played last season as well. I don't think we're going to play that crazy level. So I think Ten Hag will even rotate even more.
Now we're going to win both cups, man. You know what I'm saying? We get into the 2 finals again. You know what I'm saying? We're going to pick up the FA Cup. All jokes aside in regards to Donny, I was advocating for him to get his opportunities before he was. I was like, because people were writing him off and we hadn't seen him play. And I'm like, that's unfair. And like Double A mentioned, we've seen him play and we've seen the level he was at and it wasn't good enough. So it's time to move him on. And I like Donny van der Beek. I think he's a talented player. But just because you're talented doesn't mean you're good enough to play for Manchester United. There's many players like that. I think Fred is talented to an extent. Obviously, his talents are off the ball, but you're not good enough. I think Sancho's talented. But guess what? You're not good enough. And again, Double A mentioned it. He's singing from the same hymn sheet as me. Attachment. I'm no longer attached to these players and haven't been. I've only just started. I only from this past season like the team again. I didn't even like the team before this because of just how bad it was and just us not doing the basics. And I said it on this channel, and I'll probably say it again during the season as well. I'll forgive a lack of skill. I won't forgive lack of will. So just lack of effort, not running, not closing down, just the sheer basics. Forget talent, just do the sheer basics off the ball. So yeah, man, with Donny van der Beek, Fred, move him on. I'm saying he's no loss, move him on. And it's the same how I look at the De Gea situation. I'm glad he's gone. He had to be moved on. Ten Hag had to deal with that situation in which he did. And I've heard people mention about De Gea has been disrespected and it's not a way to treat someone who's been here for 12 years and and what Double A mentioned that Bruno said, he should have been given a goodbye to the fans. Did people forget he tried to leave us for Real Madrid? Did he care about saying goodbye to the fans then? People forget this. It's football. People need to mistake, and the only thing constant about football clubs is the fans. Us free. In 10 years' time, us free will be doing this. Go on.
He still goes 8 years without ever moaning. Do you know what I mean? He was respectful in that way, and I think forgive him for that. And I don't think he ever really pushed for it, did he? I don't think, some players now.
Here's where I push back
they-
on him pushing for it, because he got dropped by Van Gaal, because Van Gaal deemed him not ready to play to fit. If
Van Gaal was a psychopath. Van Gaal was a madman. Do you know what I mean? Like,
if that was, let me say this, if Van Gaal had Pogba and Pogba did that in that situation, and Pogba wanted out, and Pogba was dropped because he was deemed mentally not right, what would the pushback be? Come on, man. We know what time it is with De Gea.
Yeah.
The Van Gaal dropped him for a reason. Like, you didn't get your move.
I hear it.
Yeah, you wanted your move. You didn't get your move. And then you was dropped by the manager because you weren't deemed right to play. So that's why when people say, oh, where was his loyalty to us? And it's not a question of forgiving him. I don't particularly care about that. Just do your job, like you mentioned. He was here for 8 years originally. He was here for the first 8 years, didn't complain. You was paid to do a job. You did that exceptionally well, didn't get your move. And now you're no longer good enough. And the clubs who are interested in you show your value and your worth. Who's he been linked to? Saudi Arabia. It's Saudi Arabian teams. He's not even been linked to a mid-table team in Spain where he's from. That shows the level he's at. Very similar to Cristiano Ronaldo. When we was here doing shows, people were like, yo, you need to keep Ronaldo, this, that, and the third. He'll win you Premier Leagues, Champions Leagues, etc. So why is he in Saudi Arabia then? Why did no top European clubs come in for him? Because I guarantee you right now, if Casemiro was up today, was put on the transfer list today, top European clubs are interested in him. Same with the Martinez.
Yeah, no doubt.
Same with the Varane.
No doubt.
Like, that shows your value. So, like, with De Gea, it's like, I know we were talking about Donny van der Beek. Move all these man on. Not good enough. Been here. He had success, De Gea. Won every trophy here by Champions League. Thank you. No disrespect. The game's evolved. Time to move on. And Donny van der Beek, Fred, all the rest of these players can go.
Another player that the super chat's coming now for, but big up to Coolion, says my problem is getting rid of them and not replacing. Absolutely as well. That's another one. Glazonomics though. So that's it. That aspect. Abdishek says here, Bruno needs to improve his game. Okay, Sai, let's talk about Sanchelini. Sancho Oberton. What does he bring to the team? Nothing. Sell him ASAP. See, I don't think that's gonna happen because I just don't think I think Sancho wants to prove himself at least one more year. I think the Ten Hag wants to give him one more chance. It'll be wild to maybe hear Sancho wants to leave or a club comes in for him. For me, it's not going to happen. Sancho will try and prove himself one more year. And I think he's got one more year. I think for me, I've resigned. I'm not going to lie to you. My energy towards the start of the window, guys, was to sell him. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'll be real with you. But I've kind of resigned and I'm kind of feeling, you know what? Give him one more year, and this is the final year. Can we agree if he doesn't hit the heights that we need him to be, this is Sancho's final year or to prove himself?
Go on,
It has to be. No, it has to be. 3 years is a long time, and if you're not doing it after 3 years, there's something wrong. Donny's in the exact same situation. My only worry is, he's going to become the new De Gea, and when I say that, I mean De Gea was scapegoat. It was getting toxic with De Gea, and it's already started. Like, there's literally people putting out pictures of him saying he's fat, and it's just the wind blowing his top.
Like, that's crazy. These Twitter guys are just mad. They honestly, they need to get out of the house, man.
Bro, there's a video of the preseason training, and his top is blowing in the wind. And he screenshotted it and said, "Oh, look at him. He's not looking good, bro. Like, he's put on weight. Like, bro, the guy cannot live at all. Like, and it's it's that I worry about. That if he doesn't hit the ground running immediately, fans are going to be on his back. And we've seen, they've seen that meme of troops. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know that.
You know what I mean? That's just going to be out all season. I just need to quickly address Don Della Diamond, by the way. You're talking about, it's strange how I rate Bruno and I'll call out other players. I literally said before when we were talking about the captaincy that I know Bruno has to improve in terms of his output on the pitch. The reason why I'm saying he'd be a good captain, he's fantastic, is because he has leadership skills. And that's why I think he would be a good captain for Manchester United. In terms of his output and what he does on the pitch, yes, he has to improve, but I just thought I had to address that. But with Sancho,
absolutely.
I've said so many times on here, he's a fantastic footballer. He has all the skills to be amazing. What he doesn't have for me is the will, drive, and hunger that I watch when I go to Old Trafford. He doesn't have the hunger to succeed that other players show. Garnacho shows, Palestri shows when he comes on. Ahmad look like he's showing, and you can even talk about Rashford and Antony as well. And he has it all to do to get ahead of these. You talk about Maguire having 4 people ahead of him. Sancho's got the exact same problem coming into this new season. So it's all for him to do, and I just hope he can do it because I like him and I want every player that comes in to be a success. And he just has to show he can do it now.
Yeah, like the initial super chat said when he's criticizing him, I like Sancho. I think he's talented, but I'm done defending him because you've been here 2 seasons and haven't performed. I can't defend that. 1 season, all right, we'll give you the first season, first Manchester United, new league, etc., etc. But now you've been here 2 seasons and you haven't had a good one. That's why I can no longer defend him, and I wouldn't actively try and sell him. But if you got a good offer for him, if someone offered 40 million for him right now, I'd take it. But I don't think he'll be successful here.
Oh, swear. But the thing is, you said it last week, though, it was 45 million anyway, around
40,
there.
40, 45 million. I think for Sancho was brilliant business to get. He's not performed well for 2 seasons in a row. So therefore, how can you defend him? Do I believe some of the criticism of him is over the top? Double A again mentioned it in regards to people saying, oh, he's over. That's being over the top, like with the criticism. But any player who's not performing for Manchester United, you're going to get a selection of the fan base who criticize and people believe it's over the top. I believe, as much as I'm not a fan of Bruno, some of the criticism of Bruno is over the top. Even Maguire, Maguire will play, have an okay game, for example, and people will trash him and be like, oh, he was awful. It's like, he can be a bad player, but play okay. Fred, who's on the move, he's another one. Anytime I know Manchester United draw or lose a game and Fred's playing, Fred's going to trend. Whether he's played well or whether he's played not, Fred's going to be the main portion. And I'm like, there's games where Fred has played well and people have still criticized him. But yeah, Sancho is very much going into that bracket. But that's on Sancho. He has to perform better, but I don't think he will. Where's he going to get game time? Bruno and Mount are going to play.
I don't think he is.
Bruno and Mount are going to play. Rashford's going to play from the left. Anthony's going to play from the right. We're going to sign a striker. Where does he get game time to improve?
Yeah, absolutely. Big up to go on. I'm just going to read the super chat there. Diva says Sancho is the new Maguire, useless. Bruno is the new De Gea. Lads, would turn someone to ruffle my top. Hey, listen, Lintena, man. You're mad, man. You're mad, man. But yeah, what was going to say, Double A, in terms of
also as well, like I want to get rid of this. I can't change anyone's mind, but this narrative that you can only do it in the Bundesliga needs to stop. Listen, the Bundesliga is a good league. It's not on the level of the Premier League, maybe Serie A. It's still, for me, it's probably the 3rd best league in Europe. It's better than the La Liga, apart from 2 teams, and it's better than France, obviously. And I think stop saying that a player that does it in Germany can't do it in the Premier League, and that's why. Listen, I think. Is Jude Bellingham going to get the same treatment if he goes to Real Madrid? Doesn't have a great season when he first goes there? I doubt it is. He probably gets a lot more leeway and credit, but because he's signed for Manchester United, I think he gets more scrutinized a lot more than he probably would. But I think this whole it always comes from the Bundesliga, so that's the reason why. No, stop it. Put it on the player. The player clearly thinks he can do it at Manchester United, and other players that haven't done it, like you think of Havertz or you think of Werner, they just didn't have enough, and don't put it on the league. Or do you know what I'm saying? Come down to the player and the player's output and the player's input into the team. And if you've watched Manchester United, like we all have last season, Sancho was lacking in a lot of areas in terms of effort and in terms of bravery. And in terms of playing football, and that's what he wasn't doing. He's too scared to do anything, and it doesn't sit well with me that people start blaming other leagues and all that kind of stuff because he's played out international football. He's had 3 seasons to do it in the Premier League. We've seen glimpses of what he can do, and he can play brilliant football. We've seen it. He needs to do it more, and it comes down to him at the end of the day.
Yeah, people should definitely shouldn't put it on leagues because these are the same people who will hype up Jude Bellingham. These are the same people who, if Kimmich was available, would be like, go get Kimmich. How come there's no Bundesliga tax if it goes? No, we will all be like, yes, go and get Kimmich because he's a quality player. Like, what are we talking about? We watch Son come from the Bundesliga just because there's been unsuccessful players from the Bundesliga to the Premier League. Like you said, put it on the player. That's on Havertz. That's on Werner. That's on whoever. There's no Bundesliga tax is not a thing. Because like I said, if we were to sign Kimmich, no one would be talking about no Bundesliga tax.
Look at Haaland and Gundogan.
Yeah, no one ain't talking about no Bundesliga tax with Haaland.
Sane at City, absolutely sick.
If we were to sign,
Sane, exactly. Yeah, Sane is a good example.
If we were to sign Alphonso Davies, our fans would be jumping up and down. We know Bundesliga tax. What are we talking about here? So put it on the player's ability. That's what it is, and that's what Sancho, I think, actually would be successful elsewhere. I just don't. I think this is the wrong league for him. I think if he went to back to the Bundesliga or went Serie A or went La Liga, I think he'd do just fine. He's just here, and especially with how our manager's trying to play now, I don't see it working.
There's loads of players that come over.
Yeah. Any other cast-offs? Obviously, we talked about McTominay again. He could be another one, but any other ones that are? I think for me, Wan-Bissaka might leave. I just don't know what it is with this situation with Wan-Bissaka, but I've got a feeling that he might leave, in a sense of Dalot comes back as first team option. He'll be kind of like screwing because he'll be like, "Listen, man." And I know people say it's a squad game, but I think Wan-Bissaka was on that periphery anyway of leaving last summer. But he developed himself to be the first choice right back. I've got this feeling the Frimpong rumours will come back, and then you'll start to see Wan-Bissaka maybe go into another club. I think it'll be a shame because I feel like Wan-Bissaka's got a lot to give. I personally believe he's got a lot to give, but it depends on what the manager wants in it. You know what I mean, and what he wants as a player, because it's about him. You know, and what he wants as a player. You know, it's him.
What I'm hoping is, I wouldn't want to see Wan-Bissaka leave because there is a place for him within the squad. He is currently the first choice right back. When Dalot's been fit, he's been the one pre-World Cup. He was the one after the World Cup who started week in, week out, and rightfully so. He performed better. Defensively, he got better, and on the ball, surprisingly, he got better. Like, he was inverting. I was like, so salute to Wan-Bissaka. Salute to Ten Hag. I think even if Frimpong does come in, let's say Frimpong does hit the ground running, then you have a Frimpong, you have Wan-Bissaka, and we've seen Dalot played as a left back. So I'm hoping what it is, Dalot and Malacia, you got over in that left back spot. Luke Shaw is a centre back. And then if you want to play Luke Shaw as a left back, that's an option. But I'm not really trying to see Luke Shaw as a left back. I like him a lot as a centre back though. So it's options. It is options. Hopefully Wan-Bissaka is not sold because there is especially being in the Champions League, them big away games. If we play a Real Madrid, you want nobody else but Wan-Bissaka playing right back. If we play a Real Madrid, if we play a PSG, if we play a Manchester City, if we play AC Milan, there's Rafael Leao on that side. Wan-Bissaka is the one we all want playing right back. Not Dalot, not Frimpong, not somebody new. It's him. 110% is him. So hopefully he stays.
Wan-Bissaka locks Vinny up, mate. Let me tell you. Locks Vinny up.
Without doubt. You know what I'm saying? No reach. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'd rather get rid of the low than Wan-Bissaka. I think Wan-Bissaka, the turnaround Wan-Bissaka has had since January has been unbelievable. Like, listen, I think he's been improving his game. He looks more competent going forward. Yes, he still needs to improve, but he looks absolutely fantastic. And these little one touch, taking players on, playing triangles, like looking confident, and the player that we thought we'd signed back when he came from Crystal Palace after that first season. So Sancho, I think Erik Ten Hag really likes him, and like Fowler said, he is the number one right back at the moment. I just think that's 35 million wasted that we could go and get another midfielder with. I think we're locked up in the fullback positions. I don't think we need to bring anyone in. I'm comfortable with the 4 options that we have. Go and use that somewhere else, like a midfielder for me, for sure.
I'd prefer, you know what I'm saying, for us to sell Dalot. And Dalot's in the bracket of Fred and the bracket of Donny van de Beek and Sancho, where I go talented, but Dalot's good at everything and excels at nothing.
You just signed a new contract.
That's why I think he's going to stay. But like, I was hoping Dalot gets moved on. And like I said, I like Dalot, but it's too harsh to say he's a man of many traits and a master of nothing. But that's in essence what he is. He's just good. He's just, when you look at Dalot, he's just good at everything. Like physically, like he's quick, but he's not electric. He's good in the air. On the ball, technically he's sound. He's a decent crosser, decent ball carrier, decent passer, but it's all just 6s and 7s. There's nothing you look at with Dalot and go, he's 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 at that. Like Wan-Bissaka, we can say defensively, yes, but Dalot is just good at everything. And I like Dalot, and I used to defend him, but then it got to the point where it's like, forget attachment. Are you going to take us to where we need to? And in my opinion, no. You're just good at everything. And that's where it was. Like, a player can be good, but not good enough. And that's how I look at Dalot.
Big up to S. 4646, what a name. He said, not being able to sell players is all of the Glazers and Man United are paying for it, and that's why FFP is on our asses now. Well done, Glazers. Good job. Yeah, listen, that's one thing I think for me, nobody knows the real ins and outs of obviously FFP and how it affects Man United and whatnot. But that's another thing where it has maybe hit us now at a crucial stage when we need to back the manager, who's probably the best one we've had in terms of having a style and having a plan. I mean, it's probably since Louis van Gaal, if I'm being honest with you. And obviously you kind of want it to be a situation where we can sell some players because some of them just don't want to leave as well. Like some of them, you know what I mean? Like these guys, obviously Chelsea players, it eventually got sold, but some of these players just feel like they just want to be at the house forever. Like you got to leave, man. Like you got to leave. Like leave the house. Like you know what I mean? And honestly, we just need to kind of let them know, not make it very comfortable. Say, right, are you finding another club? What's going on? You're not really playing for Man United here. What's going on? But the problem is though, we give them long contracts. Long contract. Maguire is 7. We gave him a 7-year contract with
No,
EDP.
we didn't. Was it
7-year
7
contract.
years?
Yeah, man.
It was 6+1.
6+1.
Yeah. So we've given a lot of
4
people a
years
lot of
into
contracts. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like we should be able to sell them better because then the value should always be high.
But
But
it's the
for some
wages,
reason
though.
we've not done it.
The wages as well. Like when you
What-
put in Maguire on 220 and Sancho on 350, and then it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like how you meant to shift these players because we see what they look like.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like,
One, it's the wages. Two, it's the performances.
Yeah,
That's
they
why
play
people look at
terrible.
it.
And
Yeah.
looking at it, think right. Well, it's probably worth 30. So we play 30. How much you want?
Yeah.
Do you know what? Let
This
me
is
call
it.
you back. Let me call you back, and then your numbers blocked. Like it's just not got. Yeah, it's just not happening. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
the club is just the back to front. They don't know their ass from their elbow, as the saying goes. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
a strange situation. But I think,
Crazy, man.
like I said, they love suckling from that Man United teammate. They love everything that comes with being a Manchester United player, the prestige, the deals, the fact that you get to walk out at 75,000 people every week, even though they go straight to the bench and sit down, most of them. It's just one of them, unfortunately. Like Manchester United, although they're not great on the pitch, it's still great around the world, and playing for Manchester United still holds a lot of weight in terms of mainly because you get paid ridiculous amounts of money for not being that great. But hopefully the tide will turn, and then like you look at the prime example of this is Phil Jones. Phil Jones' career.
Jones, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like how you can sit on the bench for 5-6 years doing nothing and not even want to leave and want to go and play footballers' careers are so short, and I think every single one of us here and in the chat would give anything just to play 90 minutes in the Premier League. But
Yeah, absolutely.
So how could you think like, bro, my career will be gone in no time? Why am I not wanting to go anywhere and just play football?
Because Double A, that's not every footballer's aim. Some
Well,
footballers are like, let me just get this money and be nice for the rest of my life and settle my family and the generation below me, which is.
But
again,
we talk about mentality. Like you work with people who sit on their ass all day and don't do nothing, and you think, "Oh, how do you come here and not do that?" And again, it's mentality. People want to have pride in the work. Some people don't, and just go on with a paycheck. And I fully get that, but I think to have that prestige of being a footballer and not want to play football is mad.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously, the ownership situation's got a bit quiet now. When was the last time we heard anything from the owner situation? Like, is it worrying anyone? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm just chilling now. I'm not really having an expectation on it. You know, when you don't have an expectation, you can't be disappointed.
Yeah,
I'm just chilled. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, a lot of people are worried. Like,
extremely chilled. The reason why I'm chilled is because someone asked me the same question and was like, "Oh, you worried that is the deadline's passed?" I said, "Who set that deadline?"
yeah.
Nobody
exactly.
in a position of power ever set a deadline. So why are people acting like, oh, the deadline was this and then we passed it? None of the Glazers, nobody in chat, anyone else on the Manchester United board came out and said, yes, this is the date, this is the time type of thing. This was people just making things up, putting themselves in a frenzy. I'm looking at it going, get it done before the year's out. That's what I'm looking at it. That's when I'll be concerned. If it's 2024 and this is still rumbling on, that's when I'll be like, because even if it's 2023, we can change, like you can upgrade the facility, stadium, look into the training ground, etc., and then maybe look at improving the team in January, which could help us achieve something this season. And then obviously summer is when you go seriously. So if it by 2024 there's no new owners, I'd be worried. that's when I'd be concerned. Like, all right, what's going on?
Absolutely. What are you thinking, Double A?
There's no point even getting wrapped up in it anymore, because it's got people like Bruno Fernandes making a video out of themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
man.
It's got
Crazy.
to the point. It's jumped the shark. It's got to the point now where it's become a meme. It's become a joke. It's a farce. But that's what was to expect. You know what I mean? It's like November last year when it's all come out and everyone was excited, thinking finally we're gonna. The shadow that is the Glazers that have bled this club dry for 18 years is finally going to be lifted. And how the hell we're in July and we still have no preferred bidder? And let's be honest, what was it, 4 or 5 weeks ago when the Sheikh had put his last bid in? If it was that attractive to him, they would have took it, wouldn't they? So it's just the Glazers doing what the Glazers do and not caring about us, not caring about the essentially not caring about the football club and what's best for Manchester United. They've seen what we did last season under restraints for the manager. Somehow, pulled up trees and worked a miracle. But they don't want us to go any further, do they? They want us to keep, that Champions League money comes in. I personally think I just can't see it going to Qatar now. I just think it's going to end up with them two staying with Sir Jim. Maybe that's the pessimist in me. Maybe that's just because I'm used to what the Glazers are. But yeah, like you, I'm just white noise to it now, and you just have to deal with what happens.
Deal with what happens when you get to the situation, and then we kind of go from there, man. Hopefully, we heard Onana news this week. You know what I mean? We get a little remix. You know what I mean? To the Onana, that would be quite good.
Oh, that's going to be the chant, Onana, what a save. That's what it's going to be. I seen
what-
Indiana
yeah,
post
exactly.
That's what
I seen
it
Indiana.
Yeah.
That's going to be it, and that's a fire chant, to be honest.
Yeah, man. And then hopefully, like I said, it's just a case of what happens with Hoyland and the bid of that one, man. So interesting week, man. Hopefully we get there. And obviously pre-season already starts on Wednesday, man. Crazy, isn't it? Like pre-season starts, man. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited, man. You get to see some Sancho ball, Martial remontada. Like, that's, you know what I mean? And everyone gets gassed.
Relax,
but no, that's what I'm saying to you. But for pre-season only. And then you get back to reality and they're absolutely shit. And that's what pre-season is all about.
The pre-season Pirlo.
Seriously.
Right.
Pre-season Pirlo. Remember Pereira? Every pre-season, he turned into pre-season Pirlo. But as soon as the game... Yeah, and Lingard. And as soon as first game week came, stinkers everywhere. Stinkers everywhere, man. It's mad, like, seriously. Anyone that you're looking out for that might surprise you in the preseason? Anyone that you think like within the squad? I think maybe Isaac Hansen from the
Let me just
youngster.
reiterate this. I couldn't care less about preseason.
But
I don't watch it.
There you
Ain't
go.
watched it in years. I really could not care less about preseason. Like you said, people get gassed, and then it comes into the win. Like people, Zidane Iqbal, he was a prime example. He was the guy.
Yeah.
He was the preseason star.
Zidane Iqbal, yeah, man.
And everyone's like, yeah,
Kobe
this, that, and the
Mino, yeah.
third. The only thing I like about preseason is it gives you an idea. It can give you an idea and an indication of what the manager's going to do. So like in terms of formations, where players are going to play and things of that nature. But I pay it no mind. I don't watch preseason.
You know what that tells me though about Iqbal is that he was given a chance and he didn't impress the manager in training. And we believe that Ten Hag is like that. He will give you a chance. If you don't do what he's asking you in training, that's where you see yourself out of the team. And there's a reason why Mainu came in and was ahead of him in all the squads. We didn't see him in the squad for months and months. Iqbal. So I get what you're saying. Flawless. It is one of those where it's like, yeah, you just watch it to be entertained, and it's a bit of football. But yeah, mate, I am fully invested. All my chips are in. I've bought the stock. It's Ahmad time. Listen, I'm down for some Ahmad Diallo. Even the other day, I was just watching his goals from last season for Sunderland, and listen, this kid deserves a chance at this club. We bought him 3 years ago. He came on and scored a header against Milan. Wasn't given any chances and shipped out on some loan. And I'm buzzing. You know, there was rumours of loans again going back to Sunderland, and even the Sunderland managers come out, or someone at Sunderland's come out and said, listen, this kid needs to be playing at a higher level. So that tells you he's not going back there. I want him to get a chance. Listen, we've got some good young players here. I think he should be over Alanga. If Alanga's gonna another player that we're talking about who should go, Alanga needs to be gone. And I tell him, I take any like custard creams, some Doritos. I'll take anything you're throwing at me. Frankly, Alanga. Get Ahmad in this. Get Ahmad in this team because I guarantee it. He will put.
Got some here for you, man. Got some custard creams for you here, man. You know what I'm saying?
I actually don't even like custard creams. To be fair,
What?
But I think,
are you crazy? I bet you like. I bet you like ginger tea biscuits. I bet you like ginger tea biscuits.
There's nothing wrong with gingers, but no, I don't actually know. I'm a chocolate hobnob guy. I'm a bourbon guy.
Yeah, they're nice to be fair. They're the bourbons, yeah. But custard creams are like the custard creams, and what's them other ones called? Them the biscuit, the tea biscuit ones. You know, the plain ones. What they call rich tea. Rich tea. Man, rich tea.
I bet you go to Nando's and get lemon and herb. You absolute plain guy.
Yeah, man. Why not? Lemon and herb, man.
That is the
Hey, Saeed, do you dip the rich tea biscuits in your tea? Do you have it with a cup of tea?
I don't like tea anyway. I don't like tea. I just like it. I like it. I like it hard. Oh shit! Now pause. People. Listen. Don't even. Listen, we're gonna end this stream right now. You're in trouble.
You're in trouble.
You are in trouble.